This week we're going to look at taking the body from a forward fold in Uttanasana up to Tadasana in standing mountain pose. And we tend to do this in two ways within the classes. We either come up with a flat back, so the spine is not moving, we're taking it as a hinge action from the hips, or we roll up through the spine. So I'm going to show you both of those and the pros and cons and which might be most suitable for you. Because whenever we're doing this, I want you to think about which option is most appropriate. Now, you might find that both feel fine, and that's fine, so you can just alternate. You might find that one has a little bit more sensitivity in some parts of the spine, in which case you can opt for the other option. So let's just start in Tadasana, just soften those knees. And first of all, we're just going to roll down to forward fold. So once we find our forward fold, knees can be nice and bent. We're going to take our focus to the spine here. So I'm not worried too much on those legs. If you want to keep your knees bent, we can still do this with a flat back. So even with those knees bent, you can come to your flat back extension. It's not comfortable for everybody, but that's absolutely fine. Okay, so whichever version you're in, let's find our flat back first of all. Maybe visualizing your spine as that lovely long length from the crown of the head to the tailbone, and if your eye gaze is down towards the mat, then you'll have no rotation through the spine either. So if we're coming up in a flat back, all we're simply doing is hinging. So I'm going to get you to put your hands just onto your hips. And you'll notice here that you're going to need to engage your core and press into your heels. Very, very slowly. Now, the key here is to let your eye gaze travel as we slowly take ourselves up to standing. Now, depending on how you have responded to that might depend on the time of day. So in the morning, you might just find, oh, that low back feels a little bit sorer, and what you've been doing. So we can do this with a flat back, and we can do it on the way down as well. So let's put our hands on our hips, root into the feet, lengthen, and then just feel how we're pivoting. So we're simply pivoting at the hips. Not a lot happening in the spine, but of course the weight is shifting. So we are having to weight bear because we're hovering here. And then once you start to come down, just find your Uttanasana once more with the bent knees. And we're going to do quite the opposite now. So as you really bend your knees, I want you to find that nice curve in the spine as you drop your chin down. Keeping those knees bent, and let your arms start to dangle. So we want to feel the weight of the arms. So if your hands are on the floor, that's absolutely fine. Now, maybe closing the eyes is helpful here, because what we want to do is feel like we're tucking our tailbone under, slightly scooping the belly and raising the body a little way. Now, in doing this, we haven't moved the neck and we haven't moved the shoulders. So we're starting with the very base of the spine. Maybe stack the next vertebrae. So we're working in the lumbar spine just now, which has a huge range of extension. So keep stacking slowly. We're thinking about a nice rolling action, making sure those arms are like pendulums and your chin is still just hanging down. And it's not until your legs are extended and you can feel a drop of the shoulder blades down the body, that's your cue to start to lengthen through the cervical spine, through your neck, and allow the head to come to centre. Now that might have felt lovely for you, and that's great. So rolling up and down might feel a really nice movement through the body because we're taking it really slowly. Now, I have talked about in class how that movement potentially increases pressure on individual vertebrae. So if we're thinking about rolling up, we are focusing on a particular area of spine, and potentially there's some compression of the intervertebral discs as we do that. Now, you will know how that feels on your body. Actually, there's very little evidence to say that that is it's an inherent movement, and if it doesn't feel good, again, you shouldn't be doing it. But there's no real evidence to say that damage will be caused by doing this movement. Any very repetitive movement can cause some discomfort, but if you're moving between the two and you're using your flat back and you're rolling up and it feels good, then that's likely going to be the best option for you. So there's a lot of information about spines, and I'm sure you know your own spinal health, but let's really start to open up and work through different variations and see which ones work for us.